Hello. The title of my PowerPoint production is Heat and Light by Jerica Macklin. The introduction is this PowerPoint will cover the information concerning the sun and how it emits light and produces heat. It will give details that will allow the reader to understand the sun, the layers of the sun, heat, and light. So open up your minds and get ready to tune in. The sun. My first PowerPoint slide is over the sun. The sun is a star that is medium sized among the star categories. The solar system is rotating around the sun. In my paper, I explain it a lot more. The sun is the main source of light and heat for the earth. Basically, like I said, the sun is solely responsible for keeping the temperature of the earth in a reasonable range that is sustaining of life. So what I mean is, like, the sun is basically what we look forward to in sustaining life. We have light from our day-to-day aspects of life, and we also have heat and temperature. And speaking of temperature, that is my next PowerPoint slide. Temperature is the measure of hotness or coldness of matter. We experience temperature every day. Like, if we drink hot tea or cold tea, that's the best way to describe what temperature is. If you want something cold, you might add ice. If you want something hot, you might heat it up. Temperature is the average kinetic energy per molecule of a substance. Temperature is measured in degrees on the Celsius or Fahrenheit scale, or in kelvins. And we've learned so much throughout the semester about temperature and different ways that it's displayed. Alright, the first part of the sun is the core. The core of the sun is the region that extends from the center to about 20 to 25%, which is really not much, of the solar radius. It is here in the core where energy is produced by hydrogen atoms being converted into the nucleus of the helium. So basically, the core is where the energy is produced. It's like, say for instance, the heart of the sun. Like humans, our heart is our core. The heart is our core, and it is what everything else comes from. So basically, the core is what is needed to start the explanation of the sun. Next, I have the radioactive zone. This is like, we have our heart, so now we have our veins. This is like the veins of the sun. We have the radioactive zone that lies right next to the core, which extends out to about 0.7 solar radii. So the radioactive zone is what is next needed for the sun. This layer of the sun has no thermal convection, and no thermal convection, even though it has no thermal convection, the layer is still hot and dense. The convective zone is it is the sun's outer layer. It accounts for everything beyond 70% of the inner solar radius, or from the surface to approximately 200,000 kilometers below. Okay, basically, all right, we have our heart, we have our veins. Now we're producing the skin of the sun. So I just use a metaphorical way of better explaining the layers of the sun by using the human body, because the human body is kind of set up in layers with the heart, the veins. Now we're producing the skin. The temperature of the convective zone is lower than the radioactive zone, and the heavier atoms are not fully ionized. I can compare that to maybe an oversized person that they're not able to get the production that they need because they're a little heavier. So basically that's what the same thing with ions. Now we have the photosphere. The photosphere is the visible surface of the sun. Well, us as the human eye really doesn't have a visible surface of the sun, but you know, we can't really look at it, but it's the visible surface of the sun. So basically the photosphere is the skin and the definition of the sun. This is where the sunlight and heat that has been radiated and convected propagate out into space. Meaning, like, this is where now, this is what we can see. This is what we can see. We can't see the inside of the sun, but we can see the sun within itself. Back to temperature. The temperature in this layer range between 4,500 and 6,000 K. Next, I have, what is heat? This is basically what our entire paper and information is about. What is heat? Heat is the form of energy that is transferred between two substances at different temperatures. The direction of energy flow is from the substance of higher temperature to the substance of lower temperature. So basically, you know, whichever way energy flows, it is from high to low, sort of sense. Like I just know that the information that says that it's from higher to lower substance temperature. What is light? We have discussed light in quite a bit throughout the semester. It is both a particle and a wave. Light has properties of both a particle and electromagnetic wave, but not all properties of either. So, you know, we discussed this in a previous chapter of what is light. You know, light plays a huge part in heat, and heat is like they need each other, you know. Alright, next I have fun facts. The fun facts to me was learning that even though I've said all that information and given all of that information about the sun and the core and the radioactive zone and the convective and the photosphere, I still found out that thermal radiation is the light we see visible. It is the light that we see visibly. You know, the electrical energy travels in a line that will not bend, and to like sum up the whole thing, intense heat causes light. So that's the fun fact. That intense heat causes light. Last but not least, we have the conclusion. To conclude, I enjoyed learning and writing about the production of heat. It really was good to learn that the sun had different cores. It had different levels. It was very informative So now that I know that that light is really produced by heat, I'm glad that I was able to share it with the viewer or the reader of my PowerPoint and paper.